Hello and welcome to next AppPort Academy for Android lesson. My name is Vladimir Valouch, and I will take you through this lesson today. This lesson will be about Kotlin's variables and types, and it is part of this week's theme, which is Kotlin Introduction. So let's dive in. The first thing what you should do is probably to open your Android Studio, because that's what we use each and every lesson. What I did and what you can already see here is a project which is built from empty activity or with empty activity. If you have an existing project, feel free to use that one. We won't be actually changing anything directly in the Android part of the code. We will be just playing today with the code outside. And I will actually show you how to use some tiny trick, how to run your code if you would like to test it, that it is behaving as you expected. So what is a variable? The easiest way how to think about a variable from the programmer's point of view is a container. It's a container in a memory where you are storing your values to or read them from. These containers usually have some names, and we will play with the ways how to actually use them. So in the beginning, let me show you this super neat trick. If you are using Android Studio or IntelliJ, this will work with the Kotlin each and every time. All you need to do is just type create a new method on main, and it is args array and type is string. What is important here, and what you could have noticed, is that voila, immediately I have here this run button. What it means, I can actually run this without running the whole Android. And I'm actually going to heavily use it this lesson. So let's start with the explanation or further explanation. What is a variable and how we define it in Kotlin? In Kotlin, we have actually two ways. We can create read-only variable, which is the most simplistic one, and we can create rewritable variable. Let's start with the read-only. How would you define it? For that, you need to type keyword val, like saying that it's read-only. Also, the val is shortcut of variable final. I will name it my read-only variable, which is type of int, and assign it with the value of 2. And of course, I can output it. Print line. My read-only variable. And I can run the code just to see that everything is fine, up and running. Whoa, that was actually quick, right? Nice. So, and I want to show you one more thing so that you really believe me that it is a read-only variable. I will copy it and I will try to reassign it with another value. As you can see, Android Studio immediately says that you cannot reassign read-only variable, which is perfectly fine. Let's try a classic variable, which starts with the var, and I will name it just first var. And assign it again, just int with 2 this time. And if I can even print it out, I should see 2 and 2. Wow, okay, I have it there. The nice thing about the vars is if you need to, for example, add to it, you can. This way, you should see number 3, 2 and 3. Oh, voila, it is here. So this is how you define the read-only, and this is how you define changeable variable. The next thing, what we're going to actually play with is type inference. So Kotlin itself is strongly typed language. Each and every variable here no matter whether it is a read-only or read-write type of a variable, needs to have type. You might be wondering why it's grayed out here and why it's telling me that it doesn't need to be there. Yes, it is actually right. In this particular case, this definition of int or type is not needed because I'm immediately right after equal sign assigning the value, which has given type. Therefore, the value of this one can be inferred. Let me show you an example. I will do tiny cleanup here. And what the way how we can actually check in a very easy way that the type stays the same, I will create two variables and I will make them actually final. Oh, var. You see that they are exactly the same, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to get their types out. I'm running it, and expectation is that, and if the inference is running, it is. You see int in both cases. So this is a type inference. Why is it useful? Another example would be, and where would you need, for example, to define the type, is if you would try something like this. First var, and we know that we always want it to be int, but we are not going to assign it immediately, but instead we will assign it later on. With that, again, I can just print line of the third var and say what is the Java class, and see that it should be again integer. This because there is simply no other chance for it to be anything else. Okay, so this is about type inference, finals, and vars. Next thing what we're definitely going to look at are different types. So the initial type, which allows us to store true or false values, is called Boolean. My true. And you can define it in two ways. You can define it this way, or you can just do my true 2 directly equals true. Again, with the type inference. The possible values for Boolean are true and false. What is beautiful about the Boolean? You can play quite a lot with it further. So let's say what I will do is that I will just first print out the value of my true. What we should see is again true, and we see true. What do you think will happen if I will use logical operators for playing with those values? I can do my true and logical AND. It means that if both are true, then the output should be true. Because unfortunately, one of them is false, the output should be false. You have a possibility to use also OR, logical OR, which is defined this way, like two pipes. And again, this way you can get the outputs. And it's true because the first one is true. So these are the Booleans. The next thing, we can play with the numerics. And we have actually quite a lot of types there. From the smallest, which is byte, to a bit bigger, short, classic, int, and in the end, long. The only difference between them, so numeric 1 can be lots of, so that you also see it. It's byte. Numeric 2 could be short. Numeric 3, int, and numeric. Or it can be wrong. The only difference between them is how big value can you store to them. I strongly encourage you to have a look into the documentation to find out a little bit more about these. But in general, and for majority of the examples that we're going to work here in AppPort Academy for Android, you will be fine with the usage of integers. So those are the numeric ones. We have also decimal types, which are there in Kotlin. So val decimal, and you have choice of a float. Let's name it decimal 1, decimal 2, and you have a choice of a double. Again, pretty much the only difference between them is a size in memory that that allows you to store the biggest number into them. The way how you would define their values is, for example, this, and you need to press here as f as float. Otherwise, by default, if you just type 0.0, it will be each and every time double. The same way here as we were previously writing just the number to be 1 automatically inferred. 1 defined this way is always automatically int. If I would like to define 10 to be of a type long, I just need to put there L. So these are the numeric ones. We have 2 more very important areas, and those are actually characters, how we are going to store characters. Let's store something like a letter, which is perfect for the type car. This is the way how we would use it. Kotlin, you can of course use a letter too, and use type inference to fill out or guess what is the type. I'm not sure if we are going to use this one that often. The more often what we will bump into are strings, and probably the heaviest or the most heavily used class in Kotlin programming are the strings. Let's say my sentence. And you need to use double quotes. Single quotes are for characters, double quotes are for strings. And here I can actually put hello world, and of course many other texts if I would like to. Also, you can always print out my sentence in this very easiest way. So we have hello world, and we went through pretty much all the types. Next thing, what I would like to actually show you is how to concatenate them. So we already shown it in a way for the Booleans, where you can use logical operators for counting. I would like to also at least quickly go through the others, so that you know. Let's, for example, pick the numeric. For the numerics, it's relatively straightforward. If you need to add 2 integers, you just use plus. Plus take it the same way. If you need to subtract them, you use minus, and all other signs for mathematical operations. If you would like to concatenate 2 strings, you have actually multiple options. And that's where it's probably, in my eyes, the most interesting here. So let's start with this initial my sentence, and we were just inputting and outputting hello world. I would like to add extra text to it. So my sentence will be plus equals, which means that I will take everything what is already there, and add the space in the beginning and type something else. Concat, and if I will run it, I should actually see my test concat there. All right. Next thing, what I can do, actually, I can add also the numbers directly into the string. So let me show you how to do that. So again, I can go with my sentence plus equals. We can play a little bit also with the formatting. I can use /n, which means new line. It will automatically input a new line at the end. And I can add here the variable, which was previously defined. So let me take numeric 3. Okay, and if I press it, I should actually get hello world, that's concat, and on the next line, there will be 2. And we are not ending. We can actually play even further and even more with the strings. I can go directly into the print line. Inside, start a brand new string and do some crazy calculation. So calculation. And if I use $ and curly braces, I can put here even an expression. Expression means that you are using multiple variables, more than one. In this particular case, I can say 11, does it equal to 11? Because this will be actually Boolean expression, and the output of it will be true. Let's confirm it. Yeah, so it is true. With this, I believe we went through almost everything. There is only one last and absolutely last thing, which I haven't shown. And this is array, how to actually take multiple of the same type into one variable. So how to do that? Again, define val var as you wish. And I will name it my array. And the easiest way, and that's what I really like about Kotlin, is just to define it this way and use the type inference to actually handle the heavy lifting for you. Voila, this way I have just defined a brand new array, which holds the values of 1 to 6. Let's run it and see the results. Oh, yeah, it's an array. We will show you later on how to actually get the values out of there. Don't be worried. But believe me that if I try to access the first one, 0 points to the index of 1. The result here should be 1. Okay. So this is the way how you can even play a little bit more with your code. And don't forget, this fun main args can be added to any class and once you are using Android Studio or IntelliJ IDEA. This is all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And as usual, if you will have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our Slack channel.